Recently, I sat down with Rob Napolitano, and we were talking about different things that we were seeing happening in business. Rob shared with me a story of how he actually got a standing ovation at a sales conference. And once he shared the story with me, I actually realized that there were really 5 takeaways that actually could enable anybody to either get a standing ovation in a sales conference or a standing ovation in a boardroom or just have more influence and close more deals. Here's the story as Rob shares it.
Do you know a gentleman named Tom Hopkins?
No.
One of the greatest salesmen, sales trainers out there. I did a boot camp for him, I don't know, probably down in 2005, years ago. He's a real estate guy. And he, got his training right from Zig Ziglar, one of the best. And I did his boot camp, 3-day boot camp in Scottsdale, Arizona, probably 2005. And I was learning more sales. And he taught me about failure, how to embrace failure. And he's got this whole thing about failure is part of the game. To embrace failure. And I've learned and I've adopted myself that failure is nothing more than the mileposts that we use to measure success. The difference between people that are successful and not is that when they hit a failure, they walk away. But those that embrace the failure and say, okay, check that off, done that, let's move beyond the failure, those are the people that rise to the top. And they measure their success in units of failure, just like we measure distance and miles and meters and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Successful people measure their success in units of failure.
Yeah.
And so when I first started learning this in 2005, I'm telling you this because it was one of the worst times. I was so nervous. I literally trembled. Okay? It was the first day at the Tom Hopkins boot camp. So you're talking, I don't know how many years ago this was now, that if I pinged Tom on LinkedIn right now, I've spoken to him since then, he'll still remember me because of what I just did, I'll tell you. He said that at that point, he was doing those sales boot camps for 25 years. And in 25 years, only twice was he not able to start his second day exactly at 9 a.m. because not everybody was in there. You're talking like 1,500 people in an arena he was doing this, right? He goes, I will not start with everybody sitting and paying attention to me. And when that happens is when I'll start. And only 2 times in 25 years, I was not able to start at 9 a.m. because not everybody was there. At 9 a.m., my people are instructed to close all the doors. And if you open up that door, my people are not going to escort you to your seat. They're going to escort you up on stage. And you will have to be accountable to everybody here as to why you're wasting their time. And you will be up on stage explaining yourself. And in 25 years, I only had to do that twice. And I said, really? Because when I came to this is me thinking in my head, because when I came to this boot camp, I heard how great Tom was. And at some point, one of my 3 goals was to get his attention and shake his hand. And he said, so if I'm late, I'm up on stage with him. And so I started scheming. I told a couple of my friends, I'm going in late. No, I'm going in late. I said, yeah, we're having breakfast. You guys go ahead and go in. I'm going in late. No. I'm literally shaking again, thinking about how I was like, I can't believe it. My adrenaline was going. And so, sure enough, 2 minutes after 9, I walk in, and Tom's getting started. Oh, he can't get started. Who is this? Is that someone back there? And sure enough, and I could see looks on people's faces like, who is this? How dare he? And then he's embarrassed me the whole way up, walking the whole perk walk up the stage. And who are you? Tom, my name is Rob Napolitano. And why do you think you're so important that you have to disrupt this in front of everybody today? I said, Tom, I want to be one of your best students. And yesterday you told us about how we have to set 3 goals and accomplish them this weekend. And one of my goals was to shake your hand. And yesterday you talked about how we should take our failures and turn them into triumphs. So I decided that my failure of showing up on time is going to get me to reach one goal to shake your hand. Tom, nice to meet you. I'm Rob Napolitano. I put my hand out. And Tom dropped the mic and put his head down and started laughing. And I got a standing ovation. I got a standing ovation. And I don't know how many years later, if I ping Tom, remember me? I'm the guy on stage that failed to follow your rules and shook your hand. He says, I do remember you. Okay? I literally was walking the stage, I was shaking Tom and hi Tom. I'm like, and I followed the direction, and I turned it, and I got a standing ovation
Oh my God.
I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that. So failure.
Brilliant.
Last night when I felt that was the Tom Hopkins moment that I got nervous. I'm just going to do it. So I will never walk away from that nervous of failure again because of what I did with Tom back then. Never do it again. I'll never walk away.
I love that. Is priceless. That's amazing. That's
Scared
amazing.
the hell out of myself. I still shake when I talk about that story. My adrenaline goes.
That's amazing.
I'm assuming that you enjoyed that story as much as I did. It absolutely cracked me up. But what was most amazing to me was there were actually like 5 particular points, 5 that actually really stood out to me the most. The first is Rob named his goal. He had a specific goal. The second point that really stood out to me was that he actually made it so that everyone involved would have a win. So when he was brought up to the stage, what did he say? I want to be your best student. He's already validating the value of the person that he's actually speaking to. So that immediately made it a welcome communication, which brings me to the third point. He was willing to disrupt and challenge the usual. The fourth point is he was willing to connect the dots that others overlooked. And number 5 is never walk away from something that scares you. You use those 5 points, I'm sure that you'll end up getting standing ovations as well.